If you're a front-end developer and want to increase the job pool you have access to, or simply just make more money, here are 5 skills you need to learn in order to become a full-stack developer. The first big step into full-stack is understanding backend fundamentals. This means learning how the server works, how you receive requests, how you process data, and how you send the response back. Most front-end developers already understand the consumer side of APIs, now you're learning to create them. The first step is picking a backend language. If I was doing this for a job, I would check the job market in my area to see what the majority of the job description asks for, and I would pick that. Usually it should be something popular like Java, C#, or something JavaScript based like Node.js. Then the important things you need to learn for that language are the framework of the language, how it handles routes, how middleware works, how to structure controllers and services, and how to handle errors. Once you understand these concepts, the flow of how an application works becomes much clearer. Next, if you want the data to no longer disappear when you refresh the page, you need to understand databases. Think of your UI components. They represent forms, tables, lists, user profiles, dashboards. Every one of those things needs a real structure behind it, and that structure is your database. Do not worry though, you don't need to become a database architect. You just need to understand how to design tables, define relationships, and run basic queries. Start with a relational database like Postgres because it teaches you the fundamentals that transfer to almost everything else. Learn what the primary key is, what foreign keys are, how to design a normalized schema, and how to model real-world features like a user having multiple posts or a workout having multiple sets. For example, if you have 2 tables that work together, such as a users table that stores your basic info and a workouts table that stores every workout they log, each workout links back to a user through a user ID, and that's your relationship. Once this is set up, you can start running simple queries to explore the data. Things like selecting all the workouts for a specific user, adding a new workout, or updating the duration of an existing one. These simple operations show you how the data moves throughout your app, how it's stored, retrieved, and updated. Once you understand that flow, building new features becomes a lot easier. Testing is one of those things developers often push aside because it doesn't feel as exciting as building new features, but it's actually one of the most important skills you can develop as a full-stack engineer. The idea isn't to test every single tiny detail. You just want enough tests to catch the common mistakes before your users do. Start with a few unit tests for your core logic, then write integration tests to make sure your API routes behave the way you expect, and after that add a couple of end-to-end tests to simulate a real user clicking through your app. Good tests make sure that when you add a new feature or fix a bug, you don't accidentally break something that was already working. For example, imagine you update the login flow. Without tests, you might break the dashboard or the user settings page without even noticing. That means more hours debugging, more stress, and angry users. With tests, these mistakes are caught automatically, so you spend less time fixing bugs and more time building features. Tests also help your project stay organized as it gets bigger. In a small app, you can remember how everything works, but once you add new features, multiple developers, or complex data flows, things can get very complex. For instance, if someone refactors the workout logging feature, a good set of tests will make sure nothing else breaks. This reduces wasted time, prevents frustration, and keeps the project easier to manage in the long run. System design is about understanding how all parts of the app are working together. It's about seeing the app as a complete system and thinking about how it will scale. For example, if you're building a workout tracker, you don't just code the form to log workouts. You also think about how the data travels from the front end to the back end, how it's stored in the database, and how the front end fetches it again to display charts or logs. But it goes beyond just the flow of data. You start considering things like architecture, how to organize your app so different parts can scale independently or be maintained easily. You think about caching so that frequently accessed data like a user's dashboard or leaderboard doesn't make unnecessary calls to the database. And you even start considering costs, like how expensive it will be to store millions of workouts or run compute-heavy operations if your app grows. Once you practice thinking this way, planning new features becomes easier, problems are spotted before they become bugs, and scaling your app in the future feels manageable. It's what separates someone who codes isolated features from someone who can design a full maintainable system. DevOps is about making sure your app runs reliably outside of your local machine. It's not about just writing code, it's about running, managing, and maintaining your app in a production environment. The first step is containerization, usually with Docker. Containers package your app along with everything it needs to run: dependencies, runtime, configuration. So it behaves the same on your machine, a colleague's laptop, or a cloud server. This removes a lot of unpredictable errors and makes your app portable. Next, you need to handle environment variables properly. Things like API keys, database credentials, or secret tokens should never be hard-coded in your app. Using environment variables ensures sensitive information stays secure and that your app can adapt to different environments, development, staging, and production without changing the code. Then comes deployment. You'll need to know how to get your app onto a cloud platform like Vercel, Netlify, or AWS. This involves setting up your server, connecting it to your database, and making sure the app is publicly accessible. Once deployed, it's not enough for the app to run. You also need to monitor it. Logs help you understand errors, monitor performance, and spot problems before they affect users. As your app grows, performance and cost considerations become important. You might use caching to avoid unnecessary database queries, optimize API calls, or limit resource-heavy operations. These steps reduce server load, improve speed, and keep hosting costs manageable. DevOps skills are essential for any full-stack role because almost every job expects you to not just write code, but deliver working applications that users can rely on. Your app doesn't just exist on your computer. It runs online, handles real users, and can be updated safely. Understanding deployment, environment management, and basic monitoring shows that you can contribute effectively to team projects, work with CI/CD pipelines, and manage code that moves through testing and production smoothly. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please leave a like and hope you have a great day.